Good friends and neighbors, welcome to the renowned Rattay Tournament! A tournament in which the bravest men in the whole province match their strength and skill. A tournament that never lacks in suspense, excitement, surprises, and glory. I now declare the Rattay Tournament open. Combatants, get ready! Meeting face to face in this round will be Yira of Beneshoff, called Kipper, a mercenary by profession, who will measure his skills against Benesh of Lashim, cart pole to the Sasso bailiff. Welcome our warriors. The first combatant will be Zdeněk, apprentice to the Ratai scribe. And he will face Michal of Janovitz, spearman of the Lords of Sternberg. Welcome, our warriors. meeting face to face in this round will be Stephen of Dvorets, spearman in the company of Sir Radzig Kobyla. And he will face Coleman, man-at-arms of Sir Hanushov Laipa. Let us wish the combatants luck. Meeting face to face in this round will be Benesh of Lashim, catpole to the Sasso Bailiff. And his adversary will be Yira of Beneshov, called Kipper, a mercenary by profession. Welcome, our warriors! Lords and ladies, good men and good wives, you have just witnessed the final duel in today's Ratai tourney,
My God!
for which we
God,
all
quick!
owe
There's a
gratitude
corpse there!
to Sahanash of Laipa. The worthy victor of the whole tourney is Coleman, a man-at-arms in the service of Sahanash of Laipa.
My God!
Let us show our appreciation of the honor he has brought not only to himself, but also to his liege lord.
Christ almighty! God help! Dad! Someone has been killed! I broke his nose on my garment. What? Dead? How many times has that this month? 3 times. Where did it happen this time? Over there on the old road. And I didn't even hit the top of it. I was just rolling along and it went crack in my helmet. Bad luck comes in threes, eh? So it's back to the wheel. And
Look out!
Hey!
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Mixed goods, handy implements, and machines of every kind. Come on up and buy.
Yeah.
I'm from Skalitz, good folk. You all know what happened there. Help your neighbor. I've lost everything. My home, my family, my livelihood. Be merciful, good people. livelihood. Be merciful, good people. I'm from Skalitz, good folk. You all know what happened there. Help your neighbor. Have pity on me. A poor wretch. Sigismund and his murderers took everything I had. I'm from Skalitz, good folk. You all know what happened there. Help your neighbor. I wouldn't beg, good neighbors, but I'm reduced to this. I'm from Skalitz, and, well, you know. The Lord be praised. I've lost everything. My home, my family, my livelihood. Be merciful, good people. Be merciful. What am I to do? The poor wretch whose home was burned to ashes by Sigismund's hordes. I'm from Skalitz, good folk. You all know what happened there. To help your neighbor. I've lost everything. My home, my family, my livelihood. Be merciful, good people. I'm from Skalitz, good folk. You all know what happened there. To help your neighbor. The Lord be praised. I've lost everything. My home, my family, my livelihood. Be merciful, good people.
Let's hope things will settle down a bit around here.
You mean after the Talmberg attack on the brigand secret camp? I wouldn't expect too much of it.
No? Why's that?
There was only a handful of bandits there.
Handful. There were dozens of them. And foreign eagles too.
Is that right?
There was a great big battle. Those fuckers filled the whole of Schimmelslammers. The Talmberg garrison had to get reinforcements to beat them. There's wounded
I'm
lying
from
in Talmberg
Skalitz,
now.
good folk.
Plenty of new graves.
You all know what happened there.
They cleared that one.
To help your
Good and
neighbor.
proper.
If you say so. But I still reckon you haven't seen the last of it. That Sigismund is still on the rampage, attacking the nobles one by one across the land. And brigands are like weeds. Burn them down, and they just sprout up somewhere else. That's not the half of it. What about the attack on Merhoyed? While the lords are dealing with one lot of marauders and Pribyslavits, there's another bunch pillaging somewhere else. There'll be no peace as long as Sigismund goes on ransacking Bohemia. Sure as the sun circles the earth.
I wouldn't beg
You know how to
good
live with
neighbors,
fellow
but
spirits.
I'm reduced to this. I'm from Skalitz, and, well, you know.
pity on me. A poor wretch. Sigismund and his murderers took everything I had.
Did I tell you about my wife's lace She only started not long ago. Always in the evening, while there's still a bit of light, she sits down and gets on with it. And she's quite definitely my bed.
I'm not surprised. Elliot's always
You're right there. Anyway, I showed a couple of pieces she made last time to old Tonda from Tabor, one I buy goods from. And he said, right away, you'll take them.
I've lost
How much do I
everything.
want for them?
My home, my family, my livelihood.
I'm sure Becky didn't want to
Be
sell them.
merciful,
So I
good
asked him a high price. And he says, that's fine. He started counting out the coin there and then.
just like that. He's quite skinny. And what did Betty have to say?
She was well pleased, as you can imagine. Even more when I told her Tonda will take everything she makes.
That's great. A bit of extra money.
I'm from Skalitz, good folk. You all know what happened there. Help your neighbor. Have pity on me. A poor wretch. Sigismund and his murderers took everything I had. I've lost everything. My home, my family, my livelihood. Be merciful, good people.
Here you are.
I'll never forget your kindness. Thank you. Have pity on me. A poor wretch. Sigismund and his murderers took everything I had. I'm from Skalitz, good folk. You all know what happened there. Help your neighbor.
you noticed how all the prices have gone up?
Don't they always?
Indeed. I was talking to some merchant from Prague about it, and he
I
said
wouldn't beg,
it's like
good
that all
neighbors,
over.
but
Why is that?
I'm reduced to
Well,
this.
the road saints.
I'm from Skalitz,
So they
and
have to hire armed
well,
escorts, and them
you know.
fellas don't come cheap.
on account of the brigands, like?
Aye, they're all over.
Damn Sigismund and his bloody heathens. In King Charles' day, we had peace and calm everywhere.
Those days are gone. Brazil's.
Be merciful. What am I to do? The poor wretch whose home was burned to ashes by Sigismund's hordes.
Of course I'll give you something. Here.
I'm truly grateful. I'd be lost without your kindness. I've lost everything. My home, my family, my livelihood. Be merciful, good people. I'm from Skalitz, good folk. You all know what happened there. Help your neighbor. Have pity on me. The poor wretch. Sigismund and his murderers took everything I had. I've lost everything. My home, my family, my livelihood. Be merciful, good people.
the hell were you brought up? Don't you know you have to have a light after dark? What are you doing creeping around like a footpad? Everyone has to carry a light at night by law. Hey, you! It's forbidden to walk at night here without a light. You can't just walk around in the dark. You have to have a light. It's the law. Hey, where's your torch? You can't walk around here in the dark without a light. Hey! You! Don't move a muscle! Surrender! You've committed a violation. You're under arrest. Surrender now! Hear me?
Hear me?
Do you seriously think you can creep around here in the dark right under my nose? That's against the law. This definitely won't come cheap. You'll learn crime doesn't pay.
All right. Here you are.
All right. Just make sure it doesn't happen again.
Learn how to ride a horse, idiot.
Look what I've got for you. You'll love this.
Hey, lad! Don't you want a little wager on the Rattay tourney?